This story is titled When Plans Fall Apart. My name is Sarah, and I'm 52 years old. I live in a cozy home on the outskirts of Portland, Oregon, where the air smells like rain and the streets are lined with towering evergreens. It's a place that feels like a little piece of heaven, but lately it's felt more like a lonely retreat. You see, I've been in a relationship with Michael for 3 years now. Michael is 55, charming, thoughtful, and the kind of man who makes you believe in second chances. I was drawn to his warm smile and his ability to make every moment feel special. In the beginning, our relationship was everything I had hoped for. Michael was attentive and loving, always making time for me, no matter what. We'd spend hours talking about our dreams, our pasts, and the kind of life we wanted to build together. I felt seen, valued, and cherished. But as time went on, something changed. It started subtly. A canceled dinner date here, a forgotten weekend plan there. At first, I didn't think much of it. Life gets busy, right? We all have moments where things don't go as planned. But then it started happening more often. One evening, Michael and I had planned a quiet night at home, just the two of us. I had cooked his favorite meal, lit candles, and even picked out a movie I knew he'd love. But just as I was setting the table, my phone buzzed. "Hey, Sarah," his message read. "The guys want to grab a drink. Rain check?" I stared at the screen, my heart sinking. This wasn't the first time he'd canceled on me, but it still stung. I told myself not to overreact, to be understanding. After all, relationships are about compromise, right? But the cancellations didn't stop. Over the next few months, it became a pattern. Michael would make plans with me, only to cancel at the last minute because his friends had called or something else had come up. Each time, he'd brush it off with a casual, "You're overthinking it," or "It's not a big deal." But to me, it was a big deal. I started to feel invisible, like I was just an afterthought in his life. The man who once made me feel like the center of his world now seemed to be prioritizing everyone else over me. One evening, after yet another canceled plan, I decided to confront him. We were sitting in the living room, the TV playing softly in the background. "Michael," I began, trying to keep my voice steady, "can we talk?" He looked up from his phone, his expression curious but guarded. "Sure. What's on your mind?" "I've noticed that you've been canceling our plans a lot lately," I said, choosing my words carefully. "And I can't help but feel like I'm not a priority anymore." Michael sighed, setting his phone down. "Sarah, it's not like that. You know I care about you. It's just, sometimes things come up. My friends want to hang out, or work runs late. It doesn't mean I don't value our time together." "I understand that," I said, my voice tinged with frustration. "But it's not just once or twice. It's happening all the time. And when you cancel, it makes me feel like I don't matter to you." He frowned, leaning back in his chair. "That's not fair, Sarah. You're making it sound like I'm neglecting you, and I'm not. You're overreacting." Overreacting. That word hit me like a punch to the gut. Was I overreacting? Was I expecting too much? I didn't know what to say, so I stayed silent, letting the conversation fizzle out. But inside, I felt like I was unraveling. The following days were a blur of emotions. I tried to push my feelings aside, convincing myself that I was being unreasonable, that I just needed to be more understanding. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't shake the ache in my chest, the nagging feeling that something was wrong. One night, I found myself scrolling through old photos on my phone, pictures of Michael and me in the early days of our relationship. We looked so happy, so in sync. I couldn't help but wonder, where had that version of us gone? The final straw came a few weeks later. Michael and I had planned a weekend getaway to the coast, a chance to reconnect and spend some quality time together. I had been looking forward to it for weeks, imagining long walks on the beach and cozy evenings by the fire. But the night before we were supposed to leave, Michael called. "Hey, Sarah," he said, his voice hesitant. "I hate to do this, but something's come up. The guys are planning a big poker night, and I promised I'd be there. Can we reschedule the trip?" I felt the tears welling up in my eyes as I gripped the phone. This wasn't just a canceled dinner or a missed movie night. This was our weekend, our time to reconnect, and he was choosing his friends over me. Again. I took a deep breath, trying to steady my voice. "Michael, this isn't fair," I said, my voice trembling. "You keep canceling on me, and I'm starting to feel like I don't matter to you." He sighed. Sarah, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's just one weekend. It's not just one weekend, I shot back. It's all the weekends, all the canceled plans, all the times you've made me feel like I'm not important. I can't keep doing this, Michael. There was a long pause on the other end of the line before he finally said, I didn't realize you felt this way. Well, I do, I said, my voice breaking. And if we're going to make this work, something has to change. After that phone call, I spent the weekend alone at home. It wasn't what I had planned, but it gave me time to think. I asked myself questions I had been avoiding for months. Why was I still holding on to a relationship where I constantly felt overlooked? Why was I so afraid to demand the love and attention I deserved? I realized I had been making excuses for Michael's behavior, convincing myself that it wasn't a big deal or that I was expecting too much. But deep down, I knew the truth. I wasn't being unreasonable. I was simply asking for what I deserved, a partner who prioritized me, who showed me through actions that I mattered. On Sunday evening, Michael finally came over. He looked sheepish, as though he already knew he'd crossed a line. Sarah, he began, sitting down across from me at the kitchen table, I've been thinking about what you said. I folded my arms, keeping my expression neutral. And? He sighed, running a hand through his hair. You're right. I've been selfish. I've been so caught up in my own life that I haven't been fair to you. I didn't realize how much it was hurting you. His words were sincere, but I had heard apologies from him before. I needed more than promises. I needed change. I appreciate you saying that, I said carefully. But Michael, I need to know that things are going to be different. I can't keep feeling like an afterthought in my own relationship. He nodded. I get it, I really do. I want to make things right, Sarah. I don't want to lose you. In that moment, I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that this was the wake-up call he needed, that things would finally change. But a part of me couldn't ignore the doubt lingering in the back of my mind. So I decided to set boundaries, not just for him, but for myself. I need us to be intentional about our time together, I said. That means no last-minute cancellations unless it's an emergency. If we make plans, we stick to them. And I need to see that I'm a priority in your life, not just someone you fit in when it's convenient. Michael agreed without hesitation. I promise, Sarah, I'll do better. You deserve better. The next few weeks were hopeful. Michael made an effort to keep our plans, to show up for me in ways he hadn't before. We went out to dinner, spent lazy afternoons watching old movies, and even started planning another weekend getaway. But something still felt off. It was small at first, a glance at his phone during dinner, a vague excuse about needing to leave early. I tried to brush it off, telling myself not to overthink things. But then, one evening, I overheard a phone conversation that confirmed my worst fears. Michael was in the other room, talking to one of his friends. I wasn't trying to eavesdrop, but his voice carried through the thin walls. Yeah, man, Sarah's been on my case about spending more time with her, he said, his tone light and almost dismissive. I'm just trying to keep the peace for now. You know how it is. I froze, my heart sinking. Just trying to keep the peace? Was that all this was to him? A way to avoid conflict? I felt the tears welling up, but this time they weren't tears of sadness. They were tears of anger, of frustration, of heartbreak. When Michael came back into the room, I confronted him. Michael, I said, my voice trembling with emotion, I heard what you said just now. Is that how you really feel? That you're just keeping the peace? His face turned pale. Sarah, I didn't mean it like that. Then how did you mean it? I pressed. Because it doesn't sound like you're taking any of this seriously. It sounds like you're just going through the motions to keep me quiet. He opened his mouth to respond, but stopped, clearly at a loss for words. That was the moment I knew. I had spent so much time hoping, waiting, and giving him the benefit of the doubt. But now I saw the truth for what it was. Michael wasn't ready to prioritize me, no matter how many promises he made. I can't do this anymore, I said, my voice firm despite the tears streaming down my face. I deserve someone who wants to be with me because they value me, not because it's convenient or because they feel obligated. Michael looked stunned. Sarah, wait, please don't do this. I can change. I've given you so many chances, Michael, I said, but change has to come from within. And right now, I don't think you're ready to give me what I need. With that, I walked away, my heart heavy, but my mind clear. It wasn't an easy decision, but it was the right one. In the weeks that followed, I focused on myself, on rediscovering who I was outside of the relationship. I spent time with friends, picked up old hobbies, and even started journaling as a way to process my emotions. And slowly but surely, I began to heal. Looking back, I realized that loving someone doesn't mean sacrificing your own worth. It doesn't mean settling for less than you deserve or staying in a relationship that makes you feel small. True love is about partnership, mutual respect, and showing up for each other every single day. And while Michael and I couldn't give that to each other, I knew that the right person would. Because I was finally ready to prioritize myself, and that was the most important love of all. If this story resonates with you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for listening.